I read a book, which there's a story about this called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie.
Mate, what a classic.
It is an amazing book. I read that when I was about 13, right? Really, really young. My parents removed that book. They took it away from me.
Why?
I asked them the question why. The book disappeared. And then I found it a couple of years later. And my mother's response was, ever since reading that book, you started doing things differently, almost like manipulating people and bending them to your will. And we didn't like where you were headed. So they haven't given any examples. I don't know how true that is, right?
Yeah.
I recommend that book to everyone because there are little things in there, which is repeating someone's name and understanding that to someone, their name is the single best sound that they can hear, and establishing that kind of relationship just by saying someone's name, that makes such a massive difference in establishing a relationship with people and in improving a relationship.
This episode of Walk the Talk is brought to you by Leap Family Law, the best software for family lawyers. With purpose-built tools designed exclusively for family law, Leap helps you streamline your practice and focus on what matters most. Built for family lawyers, by family lawyers. Welcome to Walk the Talk with Jahan Kalanter, and I am so excited to bring you my special guest of today. My guest is Ricky Raad from R Legal. Ricky has set up an amazing law firm, and before we get into that, Ricky, I saw that your claim is that you guys are pioneering a new way to do law.
We are indeed.
Defend that claim. Tell me a little bit about that.
It's not as big and complicated as it sounds. For me, pioneering a new way of law was being a person first and remembering that for my practice, being a person is what should lead my decisions when I'm running my firm. I'm a person, I'm a human being first, and I'm a lawyer second.
So tell me about the journey that kind of got you to where you are now. Like, I mean, you run your own practice. Where did we start?
I had a cadetship straight from uni. So I was doing university and a cadetship at the same time.
Yep.
Working at a great firm in Parramatta. Went from there to the big end of town.
Yep.
Joined a massive practice.
Yes.
And said, this is shit. I don't want to do this at all. Moved from there and said, I want to do a horizontal jump.
Okay.
I want to be in the law, but I want to be running a practice. How do I do that? All I know is the law. All I know is practicing as a lawyer. How do I do general manager, CEO type of work? I got an opportunity to be a general manager of a boutique firm.
Yep.
And I went in there and I said, I think I know how to run a law firm. So I'm going to have a crack at this, and it's either going to go up or down. Started doing some moves and doing some things, and that firm almost changed overnight.
Wow.
It was fantastic. And I was working my ass off, and the firm was growing, and I realized if I'm working this hard for someone else, I think I can do it for myself. So I took the plunge, started my firm the 1st of March 2020.
Wow.
And I said,
This is only going to go well.
And what happened 2 weeks later?
So you began.
We are cancelling all of Australia, and you need to stay in your home for the next forever.
Wow. So you started 2 weeks before COVID.
2 weeks before COVID.
That's
2 weeks
brutal.
before lockdown.
That's brutal.
Oh, yeah, man. It was awesome.
And so what was your area of expertise?
It was commercial property, which is, luckily that wasn't affected too much by COVID.
Yeah, no, not at all.
No, that was good. That was what we started with. I'll be honest, we saw the announcement and I went, oh, shit, bad timing. I was nervous for about an hour. And then I had a thought, I don't know where this came from, I said, this is a massive opportunity for me because you've got these massive firms out there who they can't do free work. They've got huge overheads. They've got massive rents, huge wages. I'm working in my bedroom, little desk. I said, so what I'm going to do is speak to all of these tenants who are struggling right now, who are scared, and I'm going to say, I'm going to help you. And they're going to say, what's it going to cost? And I'll say, nothing. I'm going to help you. And if I can keep you afloat, that's all I want. And if you go down, you know that I was there fighting behind you. And I've never done this before. The world has never done this before. Let's see how we go. And just I became a counsellor during that time.
Would you say that decision fed what has now become like the cornerstone of your practice?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny. I don't tell this story often, but I remember during that period? Because for me, COVID was absolutely. I had a bit of a litigation practice before, but COVID and the TikTok and all that followed is really what gave me my kick. It was a decision made during a very bad time that really paid off. And I'll never forget. Do you remember when the contact tracer would say, "Hey, go get a COVID test"? You'd like walk around, and I got one of those messages like, "You've been in a thing, go get a test." And there was a huge line. It was before we had these really easy to use at home tests. You had to go into a center and you'd spend basically 2 or 3 hours in a line. And I'll never forget, I was in this line that basically went for 3 hours, and I'm sitting there and I'm bored and I'm worried that I have COVID and I have to go get a test. And then after I get the test, I have to go self-isolate for like 4 days. It was the worst. And there was a guy there and he had like a noodle shop, and he just was so upset and exasperated and exhausted. And at some stage he got up and I saw him march to the front of the queue and basically accost this poor volunteer or New South Wales health worker, being like, "You've destroyed my business. No one can access my shop. I'm stuck. Like, what do you, like, this is the worst. I need to be compensated." And he's yelling at her and he's screaming at her. And I remember I went up to him and I said, "Mate, we're all going to have to self-isolate. Why don't you put up like a COVID special and just sell self-isolation boxes? As soon as we finish here, we'll grab one and we'll go. You have a captive audience." And he was so overcome with fear that what appeared to be, to me, an unbelievable opportunity. You're never going to, I mean, when are you ever going to have a line of 500 people at the front of your store who have to self-isolate? And you can sell them hot food. Are you crazy? Why aren't you taking advantage of this? And I think that maybe moment of clarity in a very dark time has been really helpful. Did you have those experiences as well when you're talking to people, like that sort of stuff jump out?
Yeah, absolutely. I realized very early on during COVID that people know their craft so well.
Yep.
Most people.
Yeah, that's true.
Most people. Some of them don't know anything. Most people know their craft very well. Outside of that, they know nothing. So when the government came out and said, for those tenants, we're coming up with a strategy where we'll waive half your rent, and then with the remaining portion, we'll give you a rent abatement, and all you need to do is A, B, and C. These tenants are coming to me saying, "Oh, we're being shut down." It's like, "No, you're not being shut down. There's an avenue here. You just need to follow. You need to do this, this, this." And I'd ask them for, I'm not going to laugh about this because it was sad at the time. Now it's a bit funny.
Everything's funny now.
Now it's funny. But there was a client of ours who was so stressed out, and I said, "Can you would have signed a lease, right?" And he said, "Who's a lease?"
Oh,
And I was like, "You would have signed a lease." He's like, "I don't know what that is." I was like, "The document that you know how you're operating from the premises, yeah. So you would have signed something." He said, "No, I definitely didn't do that. I wouldn't have done that."
yeah.
Okay, yeah, you did, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So during that time, I saw a lot of people who crumbled, and when I was speaking to them, they didn't need a lawyer. They all needed a lawyer, but what they needed first was just someone to talk to. I'm stressed out. I'm anxious. I'm depressed. The amount of suicide comments that I heard during that time, and that was 2020. I was still relatively young, right? And hearing that and dealing with that so early on, thinking, well, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm here for you, and the extent of my advice to them was, "Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
Don't,
call Lifeline.
Yeah, don't do that. Come on."
Yeah. It's very hard because people really crave certainty. And I guess I want to ask this. There was a point where you could have chosen the safety and the certainty of working for someone else. What inside you, I guess, inspired you to go, "This is not how I would run this ship"?
Great question. Despite being a lawyer, I don't like lawyers. Despite only ever practicing in law, I hate the practice of law, or how it was run, or how it is currently run. So it really was only a matter of time. I don't think there was ever a possibility of me staying working for someone.
We are good friends, and I think a lot of that is because we share the same ideology. Lawyers, some of my best friends are lawyers, but I would say on average, the average lawyer that I deal with, and I mean, I'm a litigator, so their job is to hate me. But the level of aggression and I think just unnecessary behavior is insane.
Absolutely.
And it's like the number of cases you could resolve if you just picked up the phone and said, hey, my client's a bit unreasonable. Your client's a bit unreasonable. I'm reasonable. You're reasonable. Let's work together would be enormous. But you just, you don't get that. And what interests me is your primary area is, tell me a little bit about your primary area.
Primary area, if you were to divide that into three, it
Yep.
would be commercial property, commercial disputes, and debt recovery.
Yeah, okay.
They're the three areas.
And so you do both front end and back end work.
We do.
Yeah. That front end side of things, do you find that it's the same as litigation, that you're dealing with unreasonable other sides, like lawyers on the other side redline your documents for no reason? And
No. I think part and parcel with the commercial practice is when we're reviewing a document and there's a penalty provision that says if you don't pay on time, you have to pay a 10% interest. You pay 10% interest on the outstanding amount. And the client says to me, can you waive that? Most lawyers will go, well, that's my client's instructions. I'm going to go tell them to waive it. I say, no, they're not going to agree to that. Don't waste time by me. Don't waste money and time by me having to respond to them and say, you know, that interest provision that's in every single one of your contracts, can you waive that for my client? And I'll tell them, can I be honest, that is a red flag.
yeah.
If I'm speaking to someone, the deal hasn't even begun, you haven't even begun the commercial transaction, the commercial relationship, and I say, see that clause that says if I'm late to pay, that I'm going to be penalized? Can you delete that? They're going, so you're intending to be late to pay, right? Like, just leave it. So because I like to consider myself as being kind of reasonable with my commercial dealings, I find that for the most part, I get that reciprocated.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been my experience. But then I have many instances where I'm very reasonable, and the other lawyer says, "Piss off! I'm not changing my position, and I'm going to start charging you fees." Excuse me.
Yeah, I sometimes I have these conversations, and I sometimes it's so outlandish. You question yourself. You're like, did the law change a lot since this morning? Like, was there a decision that came out that like created this new quasi behavior that's acceptable? I mean, let me ask you this: if tomorrow our legal went away, what would you build? Would you build it again, or would you build something else?
I'd build it again.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd build it again.
That's a great answer, because that tells me you love what you do. You really walk your talk.
I do love what I do.
Take me through your day. What is the life like of a person who has a practice like yours?
Oh, I wake up at 3:00 in the morning. I
Ice
do
bath.
an ice bath.
Sorta.
Exactly. I do the red light therapy. Then I have 30 eggs.
Like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast.
What's a day in the life of a principal? It is a lot of administrative work.
Yeah.
And a comment that I've made, I've got a lot of friends who reach out and say, I'm looking at starting my own practice. Is it something I should do? And I go, yeah, definitely do it. It's the best thing ever. Once they start, they say, I'm going to be careful with my language. Once they start, they say, that was poor advice. This is shit.
Yep.
Why did you tell me to do this? I have to be the marketing person, the accounts person, the operations person, HR, have to do the work. I don't want to do this. I said, but I love that. And they're like, why? I was like, I love building something and building it from scratch and looking at all the nuances and making it exactly how you want it to be. For me, there's no better feeling. So part of my day is waking up, first thing that we do. From a business perspective, you don't care about my personal life.
No, not at all.
You sure? I can talk about it.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I jog while reading a podcast about eggs. No. Look, if you feel that if it's something in your personal life that improves your business acumen, I'm all for it. Yeah. Like for me, when I was younger, I used to exercise for vanity, and now I exercise because if I don't, I will have a legitimate mental health crisis.
Yes, yeah.
And so exercise for me is the highest ROI activity I think happens in my law firm.
Yeah, perfectly said. Yeah.
Right.
But for me, it's making time for my wife and my son.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning. It's super important. It sets the day. It's, I can very, very quickly get into that mode where it's so many work stresses and like, I've got to get this done and there's timelines and then my son will walk over and put his hands up It's like, nothing matters.
Yeah.
This is what's most important. Or I'll see my wife and we'll make a joke about something so stupid that we find hilarious. Like, these are the moments that matter.
Yep.
This needs to start my day. Take my beautiful golden retriever for a walk. Those are the moments, I'm never going to be on my deathbed go, man, I wish I worked more.
I saw this LinkedIn post that is a classic. This guy goes, I was with my grandfather on his deathbed. I said, do you have any regrets? He goes, one, in 1964, I left work 45 minutes early to take your grandmother to a concert, and I could have created so much more shareholder value. He said, it's just like, no, it's never going to happen.
No.
Okay, so what's the first thing you do? How big's your team? How do you guys operate?
We've got 3 people in the team.
Beautiful.
So 4 people in the team.
Beautiful.
My wife is a partner of the firm.
Amazing.
She's a solicitor as well. And
you married a lawyer.
I did.
I will talk about that in a moment.
I did indeed. She's a far better solicitor than I am. She's brilliant. She was working at a big firm, and I asked her to move across, and she said, is this a pity move? And she saw the amount of workload, and she was like, oh shit, you need a lot of help. I was like, I do need a lot of help.
It's so funny because my Hannah, my wife, she's our general manager, and she worked in big corporate, big pharma, huge responsibilities, very important job. We brought her over in about I want to say almost 2 years ago now. And I think she thought, it'll be less difficult. She has, firstly, we are so lucky to have someone with her like acumen, her intelligence, the value she brings. It is hard working in a small business.
Oh yeah.
Like corporates, there's fat, there's a handbook, there's a strategy. Like there's no handbook or strategy for, hey, the internet went down in our building, or hey, the court flooded.
Yeah.
Like, what do we do? Like, there's no like strategy for that. So okay, so here's a question then: how do you turn off and not talk about work at home? Because that's a real drama in the Kalanta household.
I love that question. The answer to that is, and I'm keen to hear your thoughts on this. The reason why I hate lawyers is because I find that for the most part, being a lawyer is their identity.
Yes.
I am a lawyer first, and that is everything. And outside of that, that's their whole world. My wife Nicole and I, we are husband and wife, father, mother, son and daughter, best friend, lawyer. So we love what we do, but it's not who we are.
I am so guilty of, from time to time, it does become all-consuming, and I am Jahan the lawyer before I am Jahan the husband, before I am Jahan the friend. But I'm the best lawyer when I am all of those things apart from being a lawyer. Like that's when I shine. So I totally resonate with this. Yeah. And you're right. I find so many lawyers that is their entire identity. And that's a real danger, right? Like you slowly begin to like lose friends and lose hobbies and lose interests. And the thing about the lawyers, it'll always be there and it will always consume you. There is always more work you can do. There is no off switch to this. There is literally endless inputs. You will never have enough inputs when you work as a lawyer.
Yeah, I agree.
And so, I mean, at least the one luxury Hannah and I have is when it comes to matters of law, I can say, well, I'm the lawyer and you're not. I mean, you don't even have that.
No,
you guys.
No.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you just accept she's correct?
I mean, yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And the reason why I do that, it's not because, she's my wife, just say yes to everything. She will tell you, she'll be the first to tell you, definitely don't do that. It's if we're going to make a claim against each other or we're going to say something, we don't speak in absolutes. I hate that. Pisses me off more than anything.
Yeah.
You never...
yeah, 1994.
I always 1994. So we don't speak in absolutes. And if we are going to make a claim, we will start off with I feel, as opposed to, you did this. Yeah. I feel, and this is when. And I could be so mad, I could be so frustrated, and you told me that we were going to do this. No, I didn't. Here's a text message. Fair point. My mistake. I forgot about that. And my whole demeanor just shifts. Yeah, that's fair. I don't care how angry I was. I don't care how frustrated I was. You're right. I forgot about that. And then she doesn't hold on to it. I don't hold on to it.
That's very refined.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It keeps you accountable.
I love that.
So the next argument, that anytime there's a blue, and she will say, you said this. Silence, 10 minutes. I'm just going through the archives. Is there emails? Is there WhatsApp messages? Did I say it in front of anyone? She's going to call my sister and say, yeah, she said that. He said that,
Here's
didn't
a
he?
sworn affidavit
Yeah.
from Jahan.
And I'm like, But, I don't want to turn it into a relationship podcast, but again, a lot of the time it's not about being right or wrong. And it's something that I learned from before being married is right and wrong doesn't exist. It's happy or sad.
I like that.
It's happy or sad. It's, you made me feel this way. And I am naturally, and I'm working on it, a defensive person. Because my intention is always pure. If I say something and it hurts you, and you say that hurt me, well, I didn't intend to hurt you, and that's your fault, and you should have done this, and you're not. And I get defensive, as opposed to saying, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you," and that's a big deal. And it took a lot of time for me to get there.
The reason that I'm silent is that this really echoes a lot of my energy. I am the exact same. How dare you misconstrue my beautiful intention and turn it into you toxic and it's like, no, it's entirely possible to hurt someone and not intend to, and it's perfectly okay to be like, I'm sorry I'm sorry.
And I just want to make it very clear, I am nowhere near where I need to be. I don't want to hold myself out to be an angel who's like this in every instance.
What I think I really like, and what I'm hearing a lot of, is at least insight into some of the behavior, which I think is something that's missing from the legal fraternity. And it's, you become a lawyer, at least I became a lawyer because I had a bit of a flair for the theatrical and the dramatic, and I liked to win arguments, and I liked to prove my point. And then you go, and then that's your natural disposition, and then you get trained in that discipline, and then you get rewarded for being really good at making a point. And so this $1,000 an hour ability to make a point, you are expected to turn off in this specific context, and it's very hard.
It is very hard.
It is very hard.
And following on from that, it's actually the number one piece of advice that I give to law students.
Really?
Or lawyers. They say, what can I do to be a great lawyer? My first advice to them is invest a lot of time into yourself. Now, what does that mean? I said, understand what your motivations are, understand your triggers, understand your insecurities, understand why you are the way you are. We all had shit that's happened to us. It's formed the way we are. But number one, invest in yourself. Understand everything. Don't let someone use those insecurities against you, because it happens. All I need, if I said to you right now, Jahan, you are a shitty lawyer, would that impact you at all? Be honest. You couldn't give a shit.
No, yeah,
right?
you're right.
You don't care. If I say you're lousy, I don't think you don't know what you're doing. Water off a duck's back, right? You say that to a junior solicitor, which it happens. A partner, a client, you're a shit lawyer. They
crumble.
They crumble. The law's not for me. Why? Why is that? Because if it's confidence issues, we all have confidence issues. We all have deep insecurities. You need to be on top of that.
I'll never forget. We were preparing for a fairly important matter in the highest court in the land, and we had Silk briefed, and I remember as we're going, and your job as a solicitor when you're in those contexts is not to do much. You just kind of chill there and like, whoa, this is cool. And I remember this is an old, very experienced, very erudite Silk. And he goes, hey, can you just hold my stuff? I just need to go take a nervous piss. And that's when it hit me that even at that level, when you're the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the nerves are still there because this job is fundamentally difficult and scary, and the consequences matter. Oh, yeah. And so I really like that advice. That's great advice.
Thanks.
Because it's you're right, your insecurities. I joke with my friends that a lot of men, 90% of their behavior is designed to avoid someone saying you're a coward. Right? You know what I mean? Right. Like a lot of really. If you just look at it through the lens of why did he do that? Oh, because he didn't want to be considered a coward.
Yep.
You'd be right.
Oh, yeah. If my mate said to me, old Ricky would do it,
yeah,
I would do anything.
Yeah, old Ricky. I remember old Ricky. Yeah.
Old Ricky would do that.
And then you wake up like a Manchurian candidate. And you sort of pop up. So you're a team of four. You're working on these different types of matters.
Yep.
And you've been in business since COVID.
Since 2020, correct.
And tell me, how does the business evolve during that time?
It has It has grown exactly how I wanted it to grow, which is not too quickly.
Yep.
You know, we started really strong, which was fantastic for us. We started strong, and we've grown each year in gross profit, net profit, and expenses.
Yep.
We're making more, we're spending more, and we've still got more money left over. The team's grown, which is a great move. I think if I could do it all over again, I would have hired earlier.
Yep.
No, it's again this control freak needing to just do everything myself, and then the nature of the work that's changed as well. I went from doing commercial transactions only, drafting documents, reviewing agreements, preparing documents, to then getting a client who says, "Can you handle this litigation matter?" I said, "Oh, look, it's not generally what I do." He's like, "You'd kill it." I was like, "I know, but that's not what I do, right? Because as lawyers, we do one thing only."
Yep.
And I said, "I'll have a crack at it." And the commercial litigation came very naturally to me.
You have absolutely all of the attributes to be a killer commercial litigator.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. It came naturally, and the strategy behind it, and again, the commercial side's still there, guys. We've got a very clear case here. Statement of claims been drafted. It's been served correctly. Everything's been done. We're going to win this. But let's not let it get to final hearing.
Yep.
Like, you're after 50 grand. It's going to cost 25 in legals. Like, accept 30, accept 40. Okay, we'll accept 30. And okay, yeah, we get a deal done. We sign a deed. Everyone walks away, and they're all happier, as opposed to running it to the end and they win
And you lose.
and you lose.
I mean,
and they say, "Damn you, Ricky."
Yeah, well, that's the one thing about crime that is quite, really quite good, if you can put it that way, is that you get finality in all your matters. There will be a start, a middle, and a finish. It will be a sentence or an acquittal or a hearing. You know what's going to happen. In my commercial practice, you never get finality. 95% of things settle before final hearing, and that's because the risk profile is so high. And if you've given proper advice, your clients should be scared.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they should be concerned, because if it is such an outlandish case, hopefully someone sensible settles along the way, and the matter gets resolved. So, you guys are growing in the commercial lit space. You're growing. How are you pioneering a different way of doing commercial litigation and commercial? I think I know the answer, but commercial property.
One of the ways is that for 95% of our work, we try and do fixed fee work.
Yeah. Wow.
And the way that we charge has always been backwards to me, right? We charge based off our time. Now, charging based off our time, I understand that. What we do is valuable.
Yes.
What we do is very hard to do. It's taken us a long time to get to this position, and we can charge between $400 and $400 to thousands of dollars an hour. I understand that. But the law and the way that we do things, it rewards the inefficient.
Yes.
And yes, it would take another solicitor 5 hours to do what I can do in probably an hour and a half or 2 hours. Why should they charge more? Because I'm a lot better at doing it, or I can do it quicker.
Yep.
So we do a lot of fixed fee work.
That's great.
Again, I'm a person before a lawyer. And if I'm engaging a lawyer and they say to me, "It's an open check, mate, however long it takes," I'm not going ahead with them. Like you said earlier, people want certainty. And when I say to them, "It's going to cost estimate between this and this," I'll fix it in the middle. Now, we've been doing it long enough where of the 10 times that I quote something, 8 of those times will be right in it.
You've nailed it. That's exactly we because I do fixed fee as well for a lot of criminal work, and 80% of the time I'm bang on. 10% we come well under budget. Lucky you. 10%. Oh no.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh no.
Liquidation.
It went down a wrong road.
Yes, exactly.
And that's life.
That's life. And for that's 90% of the work that you're doing that is within the budget, or it's a great win.
Yeah.
As long as the tail end, that 10% is not going to lose you hundreds and thousands of dollars, and it's a massive risk exposure, then that's the nature of business. It's the nature of the beast.
And I totally agree with you. I mean, it's been, for us, we did fixed fee. Now we've gone back to time billing, and there's certain cases we do fixed fee. I think you just have to be flexible, right? And I think that that's one of the things that the giants don't really understand. And if you have a client who will write you an open check, I can understand why the temptation is to continue that model, and they've gotten away with it for so long. But, the reality is, as litigation shifts, so do we. And you can't be charging people these outlandish. It's a $50,000 dispute. You want to quote 14 to 25 grand. You're insane.
That's right. Now, the caveat is for litigation, it's quite different.
Yeah.
Right. As much as I can, I would, if I can do fixed fee, and if the client says I'll agree to pay 50 grand for a $100,000 matter, then so be it. But for litigation, there's door A and door B, and I'm just letting you know I can charge a fixed fee. You may be well under, particularly if I'm involved. It's more likely than not going to settle. Or there's the time cost basis, and I promise you to give you some level of control. Why don't I give you an update every $5,000 to $10,000 increment where things are up to, and I won't do a second more until you give me the go ahead. At least that gives them some level of control.
I think that's right, and I think that's the only way you can do it. Or step 1, step 2, step 3. So, hey, to draft the statement of claim, to make sure it's perfect, to make sure it's filed correctly and served in accordance with the UCPR, X dollars. For the evidence, if it gets to that stage, assuming there's no cross-claim, this much. To go to final hearing, this much. To go to appeal, this much. And I think that's, I think, part of our obligations is to give that disclosure and make sure that clients know. It's very difficult because you want to do the right thing by your client, but also sometimes you have to work a case, and sometimes it's going to cost money to figure out the strategy behind it.
Yeah. We're working a case at the moment. Can't say too much about it, obviously, but it is a company that is worth zero, hasn't traded in a long time, and there is an action against it to wind that company up.
Yep. And
our clients are spending a huge amount of fees on it. And I said, why? Just let them wind it up. Doesn't matter. It's worth nothing. And they said, well, that was the first company of the 1,000 companies that we have. That was the first company.
So it's emotional.
It's emotional.
Wow.
And I have said to them 15 to 20 times in writing, in file notes, in everything, don't spend the money on me. Please, just let it go. And they said, no, we understand. So I can only do what I can do, right?
You're a creature of your instruction.
Exactly, right? And I was okay, as long as you're aware of it, and every time we have a meeting, I bring to their attention, are you sure you want to go ahead with this? You're going to spend so much money, and then when the company stays alive, you're going to be in the hole for quite a bit of money. And they say, yeah, I know what we're in for. Okay.
It's funny, right? Because you make these assumptions about how your clients think, and they're often, the great thing about crime is over time, you slowly, every single rational assumption I have about the human beast is gone, right? I've had people tell me the reason I attack this person is because they were about to cast a spell on me. They're a witch. I've had people tell you just all sorts of stuff, and you slowly start to develop, oh, okay, the world is much bigger than I thought. It's funny because in commercial, you think it's going to be rational actors. I owe you 50, I'll pay you 30, it will cost this much. And sometimes it's the principal. This guy was my business partner. He was my friend. He was godfather to my son, and he screwed me. I don't care if I have to spend $250,000, take him down.
Oh, yeah. And starting from when we were talking about me starting in family law, you see that more than anything.
Yeah.
I don't care how much I spend on legal fees. My ex-husband or my ex-wife won't get a cent of that, and I'd much rather go to you than go to them.
I'll never forget one of my earliest cases, and I would have been a junior at this stage, is the argument was, do we pick the kids up on Saturday at 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. And drop them off at 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. from McDonald's 10 minutes closer to mum or 10 minutes closer to dad? They would have spent, I want to say $70,000 to $80,000 the first thing the judge did when we got into the hearing is, why are you wasting our, this is outlandish. And you can't get up and say, because my client is unreasonable and he sees it as an enormous win if the McDonald's slightly closer to him is what is the one that's used. You can't have those conversations. And so I guess looping back in a big way, what's the future of our legal? Especially, and maybe, how are you going with the AI stuff and the junior stuff and the new legal environment? What do you think about the new generation of lawyers, AI, that sort of stuff?
New generation of lawyers, in my experience, they're fresh from university. They haven't had a day's worth of experience.
Yes.
And they say, I'd love to do some work experience with you. And I say, yeah, absolutely. And they say, I'd like $150,000 to start off with. I want to work 3 days a week, and I'd like to work from home whenever I want. And I want a fat bonus. Yeah. I was like, I remember starting on $55,000 and I was a king.
Yeah.
I could buy whatever I wanted. I was looking at McLarens at 50. Not really, but it was a massive deal to be on that money back then.
Yeah, to earn something.
To earn something. So look, I'm not going to generalize, but I think there's a lot more entitlement at the moment. But I'm also seeing some solicitors, some junior solicitors who are applying for positions, or friends who've got junior solicitors, and they're just guns. They're the ones who are working 12-hour days, and they're very, very motivated.
I will say this. You hate to be that old person. Like, I remember reading this quote from like 500, BC, where it's like, the younger generation are lazy. They do not honor their parents. They do not honor the gods.
Yes.
And it's just like, and you don't want to be that guy. But what I will say is this. There is a huge delineation between a good candidate and a bad candidate. And the good candidates are so good. And this may be the takeaway for young lawyers. It is really easy to blow your boss away because you are surrounded by people who don't know how to grind. Yeah. It is just so easy to showcase gold and just be a superstar.
Well said.
What about AI?
We are in a very unique position as of right now where AI is really assisting lawyers. Yeah. It's fantastic for my practice.
Yeah, me too.
It's fantastic. There is a time, I just did a video recently, and I said, AI is going to take my job very soon.
Yep.
We're not talking 10 years away. It's going to take commercial transactions a lot sooner. But for the moment, it's really building and helping my practice. Doing things like, we have to, a large part of our practice is giving guarantor advice. So,
yep. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Oh, look, it's high
money
risk.
For jam.
Exactly.
It's money for jam. Do you understand your rights? Do you understand the risk? Let's go through the document. Signed, sealed, off you go.
I mean, I think that's what it used to be.
Yeah.
Now it's a 15-page letter of advice that
really?
says, very detailed. And I'm making sure that I say in 10 different ways, are you aware that if he doesn't pay, that you're responsible for everything? And they say yes. I said, okay. And what about this? Are you aware that if he, for example, how do I say this, doesn't pay, that you're responsible for everything? And they go, yep, okay, good. Now, say there's a company involved, whichever it's a company borrower, yep, and they don't pay. You're off the hook, right? I said, yeah, like, no, you have to. Yeah, okay, so let's start again. You're responsible for everything. And
thanks, Amadio.
Yeah. Nice, very nice. And I say, I will not let them leave until they know for certain that everything is on the hook. Their house is gone, the cash in the bank, the shares, everything's gone. Yep. So part of where I'm using AI to circle back to that is, I'll prepare my letter of advice and it'll say, here's what your rights and responsibilities are. This is what you need to be aware of. Then I'll go to my AI system and say, can you give me another example, as if I'm explaining to a 10-year-old, what does guarantor, like what being a guarantor means? And it will spit out this 10-line explanation of, you personally are going to be liable, won't say liable, it's for a 10-year-old, for everything if that person doesn't pay. And I'll put that in there and I'll read it again and I'll say, I've now satisfied myself that if this person signs that agreement after reading this and it's said 30 different times that they're personally liable, then I can satisfy myself that this person knows their rights and obligations as a guarantor, and it can never come back to me and say, I didn't realize what I was signing. Yeah. Oh, all of my things are on the hook. Why didn't you tell me that? So AI is great in my practice at the moment, and I will continue to use it until such time that it gives me a boot up the arse and says, I don't need you anymore, Rick.
I think that's my realization as well. It's flying as my co-pilot right now, and it's doing a darn good job of checking my 6 and helping me stay on top of things. I too see 5-year horizon before we're gone, if not earlier.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same for many jobs. That being said, the human side of this job, the ability to go into a room and make someone trust you, the understanding implicitly or explicitly that judge such and such really doesn't like this type of behavior, and they tend to be grumpy after morning tea but not after lunch. These are things that I really think will go up in value.
Yes. And
for someone like myself who's a bit neurodiverse, the good thing about AI is it can't think like me because I don't think sensibly, rationally, or logically. I think emotionally. It's just a mess. So it's just like, woo! So I see a bit of a moat around it. And so how is that going to help the way you pioneer your firm moving forward?
There'll definitely be a training aspect of that. It's now not just about here's our operations manual. This is how you do this. It's going to be, okay, well, we've got a bundle of documents that have come in. Run this through our bespoke AI program. Obviously, they need to make sure there's confidentiality and all that stuff's met, but run it through, get an understanding of what the matter is about, and ask it a prompt, what are the key features that you see here? Where's our client in trouble? And it says, well, pursuant to this clause of the agreement, they said that they signed an agreement saying they're personally liable. It's okay, well, let's now we cross-check that. We can't rely on AI completely. There's been a lot of instances where I've asked it a question and I've said, I know knowing the answer, what's the section of the Retail Leases Act that says that each party has to pay their own legal fees? And it says, it doesn't. You can charge them whatever you want. I was like, what about this section? It said, oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah. So actually, don't do that because then you cop a fine. So, changing the prompts to, before you give me an answer, can you please double check, triple check?
Well, the good thing about certain legal technologies is they have those built in. But I've found this. I saw a meme, right? It was a guy. It's like, hey, can I eat these berries? Absolutely. They're healthy, low calorie, full of carbohydrates. Enjoy. And it's like, hey, I'm in hospital now. He goes, oh, my bad. You should never eat those berries. They're poisonous, and if you eat them, you will definitely die. And it's just like the ultimate responsibility as a professional lies on me, and I cannot simply outsource my brain to something else. You're paying for my expertise. And it's funny because as a senior, I'm sure you've realized this, a lot of my job is checking things. Oh, yeah. And so whether it's checking the work of an AI or a junior or an admin or even myself, I'll draft something and I won't send it till the next day. Your job is checking. And you have to be just a fastidious, guardian of making sure things are the way that you think they are.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you are walking your talk, if you had to give some advice to, somebody else that you want to walk this journey, what would it be? I mean, you've already given amazing advice to law students, but...
It would be what I said to a law student, irrespective of the age of the person. The first piece of advice is invest in yourself, understand your psyche, the human nature, understand your motivations, what drives you, your insecurities, all of that. The second thing would be to do a lot of research and get an in-depth understanding of human beings and humans. It is super important to improve your emotional intelligence. Not your IQ, your EI, improving that. Understanding what motivates somebody else, why other people do what they do. And now you don't have a crystal ball, you're not going to know what everyone's thinking, but investing in little things. I read a book, which there's a story about this called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Oh, Dale Carnegie.
Dale Carnegie.
Mate, what a classic.
It is an amazing book. I read that when I was about 13, right? Really, really young. My parents removed that book. They took it away from me.
Why?
I asked them the question why. The book disappeared. And then I found it a couple of years later. And my mother's response was, we found that ever since reading that book, I was young, 13, 14. Since reading that book, we saw you started doing things differently, almost like manipulating people and bending them to your will. And we didn't like where you were headed. So they haven't given any examples. I don't know how true that is, right? Yeah. But they said, but there's a lot. I recommend that book to everyone because there are little things in there, which is, repeating someone's name and understanding that to someone their name is the single best sound that they can hear, and establishing that kind of relationship just by saying someone's name, that makes such a massive difference in establishing a relationship with people and in improving a relationship. Being empathetic to what people are going through. Yeah. And every single person is the hero in their own story. The asshole on the other end of my matter who's going, yeah, I'm going to slug him for everything he's worth. We know that he's got no basis whatsoever to do what he's doing. He's an ass. He's taking advantage of my client. But I know that if I was to go into his head, he's thinking, I was the one who was wronged here. Yeah. I was the one who copped it, and I'm just, it's payback. Or, I've copped this for 10 years, and I'm done with being Mr. Nice Guy. Why am I always the one getting bullied? So little things like that. It's not rocket science, but it's investing and understanding how people work. Because, and you would know this better than anyone, if you want to do this and you want to be a great lawyer, you need to be great with people. And if you want to be an even better business owner, it is all people. It's all people work. People are going to be dealing with you, Jahan. They're not going to be dealing with your fantastic firm. It's you. You're the ones who are going to bring them through.
I think people's skills are skills, and people forget that. And I'm guilty of this. I recall once I was on an amazing vacation, and I have friends who are. I think the world is divided into three types of people: planners, the vibe, and sort of along for the ride. And I'm a vibe. I am terrible at a lot of the planning phase, but when I'm in it, I'm good. And I remember I was on an amazing holiday organized by people much more competent than me because I'm not particularly good at planning things. And I was like, why on earth do I get to have such a nice holiday? And I just remember thinking, the value I bring must be so much in this sort of, I don't know, idiosyncratic, esoteric way that it makes up for it. You can go very far in life with no skills whatsoever except people skills. I am testament to that. Right, I cannot put up an IKEA. I can't put up an IKEA shelf. I can't make a sandwich. God help me if you put numbers in front of me. But I can make you smile and I can make you laugh. And I think that you're right. For me, the value has been to try to be the best human that I can be. And really, unless you're a psychopath, we have these mirror neurons that enable us to empathize with other people. You can really feel in your gut what someone else is feeling. And just acknowledging that sometimes is like, hey, man, that sounds pretty scary.
Yeah.
Hey, you're going through COVID, you're losing your business, you're considering suicide. That sounds really scary, dude. I'm sorry that that's happening.
Yeah.
And a lot of my job, and I'm sure a lot of your job is, hey, man, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's just saying that I used to think it was really cool or impressive to kick someone off a cliff. Like, I'm that smart. I'm the fire. I now realize everyone is barely holding on, and the real magic is just pulling them back up off the ledge.
Yeah.
Right. So I resonate with that.
And that's perfectly said. And we need more people like you, and we definitely need more lawyers like you.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Ricky, if people wanted to know more about about you, where could they find you?
They can find me on LinkedIn. I've got an Instagram page, Facebook page, and my email address is just go onto the website. You'll find me. I love helping. I love mentoring. So just reach out to me. Any questions that you have, anything that you want to know, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm not that busy that I can't get in contact with anyone who needs help.
I'm well. You know what? It's funny. I managed to keep up with the emails, the messages, everything until about 2 months ago. I just can't anymore.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed that I'm in the exact same phase as you are. We have like a really good core team and stuff, but eventually the control element becomes too much. You can't do it.
No.
You just can't. You can't be across everything.
You asked a question about 40 minutes ago that I'll give you the answer to now. It was, what's the future of the firm? And the future is to get more people on, because my real value is in building genuine relationships with clients and bringing them on board. I love doing the work, but that's not my best use.
Minders,
it's
finders,
building
and
a firm.
grinders, everyone. And this is the thing I love about the law. It's a big church, right? I always tell this story. My business partner is, in my view, the greatest lawyer there is. Clarice, you're amazing. And she won partner of the year. So, there's some objective evidence to support that assertion. But in many ways, I'm like you, I'm a golden retriever, and she's much more of a black cat. Of course she's good with people, but she's much better doing the work, looking at the problem, analyzing it. And
it's a perfect
thank
combo.
God we have that, because, you need that.
Absolutely.
Ricky, you're the best. I see nothing but success for you in the future. And this was Walk the Talk with Jahan Kalanta and my friend Ricky Raad from R Legal. This was Walk the Talk with Jahan Kalanta. Thanks again to our sponsor, Leap Family Law. Don't forget to tune into their podcast, This Week in Family Law, for the latest update in the family law space.